What are you looking at? Strike a pose. Strike a pose.
Welcome to Love, Loss, and What I Wore. I'm Wendy Bailey, the director. And welcome to Pioneer Productions as well. If this is your first experience with us, welcome. Those of you who have been with us before, we'd love to have you back. A couple of things. The show is 90 minutes with no intermission, so I hope you've stocked up on your snacks. Exits are the way you came in. If there's an emergency, there's also an exit through the back of down the stairs and through the back of the house. But for the most part, we prefer that you use that exit. Also, please turn off all your electronic devices. If you don't and they ring, the cast will take them and your friends will become part of the show. This may not go well for you. And finally, since this is our last show today, I want to take a minute. You are going to see 5 beautiful, wonderful actors in just a minute. But to get those 5 beautiful, wonderful actors on stage, it takes a lot of people off stage. So I just want to take a minute to acknowledge my assistant director, John Mantis. Our technical director and producer, Dan Visser, who I think is back there in the booth. Also in the booth, our lighting goddess, Colleen, and our graphic designer and photographer, Denise Medby, who is right back there videotaping. All of these people to get people on stage in a show, and we are so grateful for them, and we are grateful for you. And now, please enjoy Love, Loss, and What I Wore.
One day, I was lying in bed with a backache, and I started thinking about a dress I used to wear. I drew a picture of it. Then I thought of another one. I decided to draw the dresses, to hold on to them. And when I finished, I thought, these dresses tell a story. My Brownie uniform. My mother was our Brownie leader at Hunter College Elementary School on 69th Street between Lexington and Park. Even though she was our Brownie leader, she never got a Brownie leader's uniform. It was too expensive. A handmade brown dress coat with matching leggings and galoshes.
Gingy, put on your leggings.
I hated putting on my leggings, which were held up by suspenders, and I always had a tantrum. I won't!
If you don't put on your leggings, you cannot go out and play in the snow.
No, I don't.
You know what'll happen if you don't put on your leggings? You'll get polio.
You can't imagine how many ways there were to get polio. You could get it from swimming pools and drinking water, and most terrifying of all, from swallowing a fly. Note the brightly colored mittens. My mother was always knitting mittens for my sister and me. We lived at 333 East 66th Street between 1st and mother made this forest green wool jersey dress embroidered with red cherries for my sister. My sister's name was Blossom, but everybody called her Tootsie. Everybody called me Gingy because I was born with ginger-colored hair. My mother was a large, handsome woman who didn't wear fancy clothes, maybe because we couldn't afford them. Once, my grandmother surprised her with a silver fox stole for her birthday or Mother's Day, I can't remember which. My mother tried it on, but never wore it after that day. She usually wore a dark print dress and brown shoes with a buckle. She wore glasses, but whenever I draw her picture, I always forget to draw the glasses. Her face had the most beautiful shape. My mother made this black taffeta outfit too. She made almost all my sisters and my clothes. I wore this dress to dancing school at Ballet Arts in the Carnegie Hall building on 57th Street. I liked it very much, but what I really wanted was a store-bought outfit. Sometimes I'd take the crosstown bus to Ballet Arts by myself. My mother would walk me to the bus.
Gingy, what is that smell?
What smell?
You know perfectly what smell.
It was perfume. It was taboo. I smelled like a cheap.
You smell like a Delos. Gingy, you are too young to wear perfume.
Tootsie wears perfume.
Tootsie is 17 years old. You are only 12. You are just a baby.
I am not a baby.
And you smell so sweet without it. When you were a little girl, I would just bury my head in your neck and inhale.
She used to just bury her head in my neck and inhale. The spring after my mother died, my father took me to B. Altman's department store on Fifth Avenue to buy a dress for my 13th birthday. We were both so sad, but when we got to the teen department, my father said, "This is my daughter Gingy. She needs something to wear for her 13th birthday. We need help." Everybody rushed to help us because he was so handsome. He was 6 feet tall. I picked 2 navy blue dresses and couldn't decide between them. I was in agony, so he said, "You don't have to decide, because you know what? I'm buying them both." He made them gift wrap them. This was a long time ago when you didn't have to pay extra to have things gift wrapped. Each dress was very expensive, about $44. I wore this one to my 13th birthday. One day, my grandmother came and got my sister and me. She decided we were going to live with her and Grandpa and my Aunt Babby. I never saw my father again.
When I was 13, my mother went to Montreal,
New York City.
and she brought me back not an adorable twin set of cashmere sweaters,
Not a CPO, which was a jacket that looked like a shirt made of black wool, and I wanted one so badly.
not a pair of capezios,
Or bell-bottom jeans that had just come in and everyone had them but me. But instead,
a pair of socks,
an outfit.
the loudest, ugliest, long socks.
No one was wearing outfits.
They were striped.
My whole class at Scarsdale High was dressing like hippies, and my mom bought me an outfit for my birthday.
The socks were meant to be worn
Mid-thigh.
mid-thigh, she said, and they were French.
They were from Paris.
Cigarette-smoking, finger-thin Frenchies wore them.
They're trade chic.
And I was not thin, did I mention that? And they were striped.
Everyone is wearing them.
They are?
Brown plaid wool pants, an ivory silk blouse and a bow tie. and a crochet knitted vest just to pull it all together. I went ballistic. What is this? I can't believe you bought me this. I hate this.
What's wrong with it?
Everything! What have I ever done to make you think I would ever put this outfit on? It looks like something you would wear.
Oh, I only wish I could wear something like that. It's a beautiful
Outfit. Like anyone's wearing outfits.
Well, at least try it on. Oh, you look adorable.
I do not! I'm taking it back.
Oh, you can't take it back.
Why? Because it was on sale? You bought me something that was on sale? What if I didn't like it? Which I don't!
You are an ungrateful girl. You are a horrible, ungrateful girl, and you don't appreciate anything.
My life is over just from wearing it in the house.
Fine.
Fine.
I'm never buying you anything again.
Good. I don't care. The next year, she bought me the book of Between Parent and Child and a frozen Sara Lee banana cake because I didn't appreciate anything anyway. My mother.
You look adorable. Do I? The French have the best sense of style.
So, today I put on my new socks and I got on my bike to go to school, and I felt very daring and très chic for about a quarter of a mile until I passed Michael Sherman, the boy I had been in love with for 2 years. And the moment that I saw him and he started laughing at me, oh, I knew it was all wrong. Mom had completely deceived me. She never had a clue about style. So, of course, big laughs behind my back all day long. Even one of my teachers said something. It was bad. But the worst thing was when I told my mother, when I sobbed about how humiliated I was. She thought it was funny.
Oh, honey. Wear them again tomorrow, and they'll all think it's a new trend. That's how trends get started, you know.
My mother.
Don't wear stripes and prints together.
Loafers ruin your feet.
Quit tugging at your crotch, Samantha.
If you wear a girdle, you'll destroy your stomach muscles.
Ned, always wear clean underpants in case you die in a car accident.
I never wear that dress. Do you know how much I paid for it?
Never buy a red coat.
I saw your friend Stephanie at the mall. Is she wearing the blouse I bought you?
Go right back upstairs and take that off.
Nice Jewish girls do not get their ears pierced.
You'd be so pretty if you lost weight.
Gained weight.
Didn't make faces.
Fixed your nose.
Cut your hair.
Combed your hair.
Washed your hair.
Got the hair out of your eyes.
Stood up straight. Ate fruit.
Put on a little lipstick.
Took off all that makeup.
Oh, honey, you look so beautiful.
Oh, just looking at you, I'm gonna cry.
My little baby's all grown up. You're so pretty. Do you know how pretty you are?
You're pretty enough for all normal purposes.
Is that what you're wearing?
Are you wearing that deliberately to annoy me?
Never wear white before Memorial Day.
Never wear white after Labor Day.
Never wear white.
You're much too young to wear black.
Never wear black pants with a white shirt. You'll look like the caterer's help.
Never wear velvet before Rosh Hashanah.
What did you do to your hair?
Is that a tattoo?
If you wear that, you're going to be sent home for breaking the dress code.
Take that off, you look like a slut.
You look like a prostitute.
You look like a gypsy.
You look like a Bagley.
You look like a waitress in a Hungarian restaurant.
Oh, honey, I don't understand. You could look so good if you just tried.
I don't know why I buy you things.
A tiara. You want a tiara. Where are you planning on wearing a tiara?
Your bra strap is showing. What do you mean it's supposed to show?
The truth is, I have no fashion sense. I never did. For many years, I blamed this on my mother's death, but then again, I blamed just about everything on that. My weight, my addiction to television, my inability to spell. In my fantasy world, had my mom lived, I would be extremely well dressed. I would know what went with what, and everything I tried on would fit. Mom and I would go shopping in places mothers and daughters go, a department store, an outlet mall, a flea market. I would wear a lot of very tasteful makeup. While shopping, we would go out to lunch somewhere, a cafe, where we would have salad and like it. We would laugh about how great our lives had turned out and talk about all of the things we were still going to do. But that was just a dream, because my mother did not live. She died when she was 39 years old. No item of clothing has ever moved me in any way except one. My father took his 5 motherless children to Belfast, Northern Ireland. I guess he thought we could best recover from the trauma of what had happened by taking us to live in a war zone. The IRA was nowhere near as scary as what had just happened to us. When we came home, her half of the closet was empty. All her clothes were gone. A few years later, my dad got remarried to a lovely woman, a school teacher named Mary May. And after the wedding, she moved in. And that first morning, I was in the kitchen having breakfast with some siblings when my new stepmom came down the stairs and into the kitchen. No one said a word. We looked at each other and then back at Mary as she happily made her way to the stove to put on the kettle. She was wearing a long burgundy velour 3/4 sleeve zip-up robe with a wide white vertical stripe down the center surrounding the zipper. My mom had that same robe in blue. Electric blue. What are the chances of that, really? There was an unspoken rule in my house that after my mom passed away, her name was never mentioned. But I knew that day that was all about to change. My siblings left the kitchen, and I was alone with Mary. Mary, I said, my mom had that same robe in blue. Oh, Mary said. And that robe disappeared. Gone. Sent away to wherever my mother's clothes were sent, I assume. To this day, I can see no other piece of clothing in my mind. I have no memories of sweaters or prom dresses or shoes I could not do without. Clothes are just something I use as a cover, leaving room for one electric blue memory.
If I could draw, I would draw you a picture of the dress my mother gave me when I was 5 years old. It was my favorite dress ever. It had long sleeves and it was charcoal wool gray with this big lace pilgrim collar and a black satin bow in the center and lace cuffs. A few months after my mother gave it to me, my father, who was a doctor, sent my mother away to a mental hospital. He moved his nurse into our house, divorced my mother, and married the nurse. We had this cleaning lady who used to come in about once a week, who had a daughter that was a little younger than me, that my stepmother used to give her my hand-me-downs. And then one day, I couldn't find my beautiful dress. I asked my stepmother if she'd seen it. It'll turn up, she said.
Well, a week later at school, during recess, I found my dress. The cleaning lady's daughter was wearing it. I mean, I could not believe it. I ran up to her. I grabbed her by the collar and I just started screaming, "That's my dress! My dress! My dress!" Over and over again until the recess monitor pulled us apart. The little girl was standing there shaking and crying, and I was standing there shaking and crying with that satin bow in my fist. They didn't punish me because the school understood. But I remember wishing they had punished me. I mean, shame on me. And my stepmother, too.
We lived with my grandparents at 743 Madison Avenue between 65th and 66th Street. They owned a stationery store on the street level. It was called Harry Goldberg's. We lived above the store. My grandmother had very beautiful, long, silver gray hair that she twisted up on top of her head into a bun. She believed in 2 cures: hot tea for anything wrong inside the body, and Vaseline for anything wrong outside the body. Here's what she always said: "It's as easy to fall in love with a rich man as a poor man." Which isn't true. Why do people say that? It isn't true. My Aunt Babby had enormous breasts. Once I saw her naked and it scared me to death. My best friend Nora. She had a beauty mark at the end of her eyebrow. Dora lived at 22 East 65th Street, right across the street from me. And we used to lean out of our windows and shout down things at the men who were walking past, like, "Hey, mister, you're going bald!" We thought we were hilarious. Dora's mother was a dress designer for rich ladies. Whenever Dora went someplace special, her mother would say, "Take Gigi along." She lent me this peach satin strapless gown when Dora and I went to the Choke School for Boys in Connecticut for the weekend. The preppy girls gave us mean looks and called us whores, probably because we spent the entire weekend necking with our dates. This is the coral wool dress I bought for a date with Walter Fenton. I was madly in love with Walter Fenton. Every time we'd go out, Walter begged me to go all the way. Finally, at a fraternity party at Dartmouth Winter Carnival, he told me he couldn't see me anymore because necking was just too painful. He went off to have a beer, left me sitting on the floor. After a long time, he came back and said he was going to drive me back to the place where I was supposed to sleep. But I said, I didn't want to. I wanted to spend the night with him. "Are you sure?" he said. "I'm sure," I said. So we did it. That's when I found out that in sex, once you do something, you have to keep doing it. At the end of my freshman year, I thought I was pregnant. I had no idea what to do, so I went to see my sociology professor at Simmons College for advice. He had taught a class in marriage and the family, and I thought he could help me. Turns out, I wasn't pregnant. But by then, Walter had vanished.
This is such a painful subject. My first bra. I can't even talk about my first bra. Macy's.
Nordstrom's.
Bloomingdale's at a bra sale, and I was almost trampled to death.
My father took me. I still can't talk about it.
Bras. Breasts. The whole works. Now, this is such a painful subject.
always trying on bras.
My aunt had a really big one. I used to wear it on my head.
My first bra was like 2 triangles. I got it at Jordan Marsh. It was awful because there was this really cute guy there shopping with his girlfriend, and my mom kept saying, "Julia, why are you in that section? The training bras are over here."
My mother would always say, if you don't wear a bra, you'll get pendulum breasts.
It was a 28 AA, tiny but not tiny enough. So I put it on and they were these like little empty puffs on my chest. The sales lady said, "Lean over." So I lean over, hoping that breasts would magically tumble out of my body into the bra, but they didn't.
I bought a blow-up bra. Yeah. It came with plastic balloon inserts and a plastic straw you would insert in to blow up to the size you wanted. One day, I was talking to this guy I had a huge crush on, and one side collapsed right before his eyes.
Well, your dad.
You couldn't run around naked anymore.
Couldn't sit on your dad's lap.
The breasts, the bra, the divide.
My mom had a friend who worked at Bloomingdale's, and she recommended the Minimizer. It was this spandex bra that would kind of flatten you about a cup size. I was totally excited because I was always so self-conscious about my breast. Well, it flattened me, but it gave me this mono boob kind of look. Well, I worked at this veterinary hospital where I worked as a technician, and there was this crazy substitute vet there, and he said, "Please don't take this seriously. It is only for your own good, but I have to say, I think there's something wrong with your boobs." I said, "I don't know you. I don't appreciate your comment. My boobs are none of your business." First time I ever stood up for my boobs.
Someone gave me a cashmere halter top that needed a bra to make it work. So I went down to the town shop on Broadway and I told the saleswoman, Marveline, my size. Well, she immediately told me I was wrong. All you girls think you need to be going up in inches when you should be going up a cup. I am deposited in something that looks like a dressing room, but it looks more like a utility closet with a mirror and a case of paper towels. I am strapped in my strapless when the curtains open up like the Red Sea. My linebacker saleswoman comes in and commands me to bend over. She then grabs me and my bra, hoists us up until I can feel the blood changing directions in my body. She then reaches her hands in, shifts my breasts, and then calls in all the other saleswomen to look at me. They all cheer. I look in the mirror and I realize that I am a new woman. And it took Marveline feeling me up in a utility closet to get me this way.
My junior prom dress was powder blue and white. It was ribbed with tiny ribs and a white waistband and a white band along the bottom, kind of like Cinderella, with a big powder blue bow. The problem was my date. He rang the bell, and I opened the door, and there he was, in a powder blue tuxedo, with a white frilly shirt and a powder blue bow tie. We matched. It was totally mortifying. Now, I didn't really like him, but I was sort of the last to be asked to the prom. Well, not the very last, but one of the last, so I didn't really have a choice in the date or in what he wore. And we had a really horrible time at the prom, and afterwards, we went into a field and tipped cows. My senior prom was completely different. My senior prom dress was black and short. in the sort of 1980s Madonna style, her like a virgin phase. It was tight on top, and it went out to this black net poof with black lace gloves. My date was also short, but dark and handsome, and we ended up drinking champagne and making out in his car. And it was great. But here's the thing. I've never really known for sure which of those two people I am. The one that doesn't almost get to go to the prom at all, or the one who gets to go with a really cute guy. I mean, every time I thought I knew which one I was, I turned out to be the other. Which is one reason why I think I got married. To like, end the confusion.
Any American woman over the age of 35 who says they haven't dressed up like Madonna is either lying or Amish.
Madonna represents sexual freedom,
Third wave feminism.
Individuality.
And fabulous fashion.
Last Halloween, we all went out dressed up as Madonna in the 4 different stages of her career.
I was desperately seeking Susan Madonna. I wore a black t-shirt cut to reveal my stomach, silver necklaces tied in lariats, a big black skirt, and red Converse sneakers.
I was blonde ambition toward Madonna. Tight leotards, fishnet stockings, headset, and this was really brilliant. 2 paper party hats I painted black to create a big black pointy bra.
I was express yourself, Madonna. I wore a man's suit and rocked a red lip. I cut slashes in the jacket so my bra would show through.
I was Patty Hearst Madonna. I wore that cute little hat Patty wore when she robbed the bank, a trench coat, and a fake gun strapped to my chest.
Anyway, these costumes and a whole lot of cosmos totally freed us.
I made out with a girl.
Oh my God, I made out with a bunch of gay men.
I almost got in a fist fight with a group of women dressed like Madonna!
Whenever Vogue came on, we totally hit the dance floor.
I felt so hot in my game sweater. I was 15, and it was the first thing that had ever been tailored for me. The only thing, now that I think about it. I had just joined this gang called the Latin Chantels, and we were the chicas of the Latin chancellors. Just some guys who hung around 7th and Normal streets of Chicago. The sweater was hip planner. Bad. It was black with royal blue trim on the collar and the pockets. Oh, but the best part, though, was the emblem. It was some puffy rendition of a long-ago coat of arms that was designed by Lemons, the warlord of the Latin chancellors. The emblem was sewn right where your heart was. I wore my gang sweater with black stretch pants. You know, the kind with the straps underneath your feet. And I looked good. I knew I looked good because the first time I wore it, Lemons asked to walk me home. And I couldn't breathe. It was heaven walking down the dark Chicago city streets with Lemons on my side. I was thrilled when he finally pulled me into a doorway and he started kissing me. And when he started to unbutton my blouse, I shuddered. And when he started to put his hand beneath my shirt, right under where the emblem was that he designed, well, I knew it was meant to be. But, you know, Lemons didn't talk to me after that day. No, he fell in love with Irma, the president of the Latin Capri. Their sweaters were black with
purple trim. Cool. I got my first pair of boots when I was 14. They were suede, and they were the answer to my need to be identified as a brooding, wounded, but potentially brilliant artistic subspecies of female, with practically no genetic relationship to my screaming, miserable family. My dog Porky got them confused with an entree and ate a hole in them. So I took a bus down to Sausalito to get a new pair. They were olive green leather, and they came way up above my knees. By the time I went to Berkeley, where I was an art student, I was all boots all the time. My freshman year, I had 2 pair. One was a golden brown and one was a deeper brown, and I wore them with really, really short skirts. I felt like my boots gave me a kind of a mysterious bohemian charisma. Tough but tender, rugged but sensuous, poetic but unselfconscious, like Joni Mitchell. It was a really happy time in my life. But then one night, while I was sleeping, a guy broke into my apartment and raped me. They never found him, and I have no reason to believe that he'd ever seen me before that night. But after the rape, whenever I walked down the streets of Berkeley in my short skirts and boots, it just suddenly seemed like everyone was staring at me. So, I gave my short skirts to Goodwill, but not the boots. I love boots.
What do you think? Does this go in or out?
What is this length?
I can't even zip this up.
I could zip this up if I wasn't having my period. Oh God, I'm up a size.
This will fit if I lose 5 pounds.
This will fit if I lose 10 pounds.
This'll fit if I have lipo.
This doesn't fit. Do you think this could be let out?
This doesn't fit now, but I always lose weight in May.
Oh my God, who is this cut for?
But I'm a size 6. I've always been a size 6.
Does this come in an 8?
Does this come in a 12?
Does this come in a 14/16? Does this make me look pregnant?
I can't decide.
What color is this?
I can't wear gray.
Yellow makes me look sick.
Oh, I look so pale and green.
This is so red.
It's so red.
Is this black or navy blue?
I can't buy another black turtleneck sweater.
I can't buy another white t-shirt.
I look like my mother.
What am I supposed to wear with this?
Does this match?
If you're not buying that, can I try it on?
Does this run small?
Is there something wrong with the lighting in here?
Is this mirror, like, distorted? It doesn't fit. I can't wear anything without sleeves.
I can't wear anything low cut.
My arms. What happened to my arms?
If my elbows face forward, I would kill myself.
My butt is falling.
Is my butt falling?
Oh my God, my butt fell.
Does this make me look fat?
Tell me the truth.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
Last summer, I lost my favorite shirt. Or to be more exact, my favorite shirt just vanished into thin air. When I came home from being away for the summer, I was unpacking my bags and my shirt just simply never materialized. I had went over the sequence of events in my mind several times, and I have my theories about what happened to it. But this fact remains that the shirt just ceased to be. And the really sad part about this is the shirt eventually revealed itself to be the perfect shirt. It was flattering. I mean, I always felt pretty in it. I liked the color, I liked the cut. It went with all my favorite pants. It was casual and dressed down, but not crappy and falling apart. It was the kind of shirt that you had to make yourself not wear because everyday outfits just seemed to be improved by it. And as silly as this may sound, I'm just generally happier when I have clothes like this in my life. Like something I know I can put on and feel good in it. Something to fall back on. And when I realized the shirt was gone, I couldn't think of a single thing that I owned that served remotely the same purpose. And I felt cheated. And it's something rare and precious. Now, I know it sounds like I'm talking about death or a lost love or something, but, and maybe I am. It is worth noting that my relationship with my boyfriend was ending at just the same time as I lost the shirt. But I could have swore to you at the time, I was not transferring my feelings about the loss of my boyfriend onto the shirt. I mean, that I was actually mourning the shirt itself. The main lesson to be learned here from this experience was the purchase of 8 different shirts, which each had some likeliness to the lost shirt, whether it was the color, the cut, casualness, or the material. But none of them in any way ever replaced the lost shirt. And I eventually had to resolve to be thankful for the time I had with the shirt and move on. At least I know what I'm looking for.
Pink satin, princess-style dress I bought in Violet's basement in Boston for my marriage to Harry M. Johnson. I was 20 and Harry was 37. Harry was my sociology professor at Simmons College. The wedding was at his best friend's house in Dobbs Ferry. There was no food, only champagne and wedding cake. My grandmother and Aunt Babby came to the wedding, but my grandfather wouldn't come because he thought Harry was too old for me, and besides, he was Catholic. Here are the words my grandmother uttered on this occasion. "You're killing me." One day, I was coming down the front steps of our apartment, and there was Walter Fenton. He had joined the Navy. He looked handsomer than ever in his uniform. "Gingy," he said, "why'd you do it?" He kissed my cheek, and then my hand, and walked away. I would love to be able to tell you that nothing good ever happened to Walter Fenton, that he ended up being a used car salesman, but the truth is, he won a Pulitzer Prize. The prick! Iridescent brocade Chinese-style dinner dress I bought in Cambridge for a New Year's Eve party. Harry convinced me to buy this dress, even though it was expensive. He thought it showed off my arms. He thought my arms were pretty. The party was at the home of Harry's friends, Penny and Eddie. They were married. I idolized Penny. She carried a diaphragm in her purse, which was very cool but strange. I wondered about it at the time because isn't the whole point of getting married that you don't have to carry your diaphragm in your purse? Anyway, at midnight, I got very upset because I couldn't find Harry. And then I saw him. He was kissing Penny. "Harry!" I said. And do you know what he said? Of course you know what he said. He said, "It's not what you think." But it was exactly what I thought. So, that was that. I was 21 years old, and I was going to be the youngest divorced person in America, except for Elizabeth Taylor.
In the beginning, I remember the jewelry more than the clothing. When Ray and I first met, we were both married and working in the same truck dealership. He said, falling in love with me was like lettuce. Because when he was a kid, he had colitis and wasn't allowed to have roughage for many years. And he missed it a lot. When he finally was allowed to have it, his mother introduced it a little bit at a time. He said that
first plate was almost like a religious experience. He relished the look and the smell and the sound and the taste. He said he came alive. The first gift he ever gave me was a ring that had the word lettuce.
Oh my God.
Lettuce. Still have it.
Why?
Kind of tight. Anyway, even before we slept together, Ray told me that he was in some trouble, that he had been arrested, he was probably going to jail, and then he told me again because he wanted to make sure he had not misled me. And all I could think was how much I wanted to go to bed with him. Besides, I wasn't shocked he was going to jail. I mean, after all, I am a Gorman. My family was always getting in trouble. My grandmother and mother were arrested for making gin in a bathtub. My Aunt Bernice, who was a policewoman, was thrown off the Baltimore Police Abortion Squad for arranging abortions. My cousin Gary faked his own funeral so he'd get out of his car payments. Anyway, Ray and I fell in love. He left his wife, I left my husband, and he was sentenced to 7 years in a, thank God, minimum security prison. I went up to visit him every weekend. Sometimes I would wear this special pair of pants I had. Loose-fitting brown cotton with a hole I made in the crotch for easy access for Ray's fingers. Well, obviously, Ray didn't get much out of this other than the pleasure of giving me satisfaction. But he always wanted to show me that even in jail, he could take better care of me than someone who was not in jail. And we wanted to hold on to our freedom, put one over on the guards, get away with it. That was the best part. Ray was released after 2.5 years. When I went to pick him up that day, I was wearing a pair of knee-high, caramel-colored boots and a raincoat. When he came down, he saw me. He had a grin from ear to ear because he knew I had nothing on under that raincoat. And the guards didn't know. Oh, by the way, we just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. I am a state senator. And Ray, he's a life coach. He coaches people on their lives. You lived near us, you would know us, but you wouldn't know the whole story.
I always wanted a pair of black cowboy boots. I thought they'd make me sort of rangy and taller, like a girl named Slim that a guy could really go for. So, one day I wandered into Walker's Western Wear, and I bought a pair of Nokonas. Beautiful stitching on the side, shit kicker pointy toes, $250. The salesman said they'd be good for my arches. I have terrible arches.
She's obsessed with her arches.
My older sister. She's always been obsessed with her arches. My younger sister. About a month later, I met a guy I fell in love with. Chase. He owned about 6 pairs of black cowboy boots. Not Nokonas, but still really nice Tony Lamas. As fate would have it, he turned out to be the same sexy guy I had seen standing against a Doric column at a party at the architecture school.
It was Halloween. Don't leave that out.
He had a chainsaw through his torso.
How could she resist him?
Oh, she cut it.
He was a sort of freckly prepster. And since I was freckly too, well, there we were, meant to be. Freckles, black boots, skinny, freckly arms all entangled.
She followed him to Seattle.
He invited me.
No, he did not.
Well, one of the reasons why he wanted to move out west was to get away from his incredibly dysfunctional family in Connecticut. Although, if I had ever said that his family was dysfunctional, he would say, hold it right there. My family is not dysfunctional. If you want to talk about dysfunctional families, what about your family?
What about your sisters?
What about your sisters and me?
Which we did.
Because of the way you treated her.
Although she let him. He couldn't behave that way if she let him.
We discussed it for hours.
Behind her back.
What a jerk he was.
Why was she in love with him?
Why?
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 Where was I?
His incredibly dysfunctional family.
Right. So then he said,
If you're gonna keep insulting my family, I'm out of here.
That's right.
and she said, please don't go. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I love you.
I love you. I love you.
It was always threatening to leave.
And every time she said,
Please don't go. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I love you.
Guess what?
After a while, I began to suspect that he was actually in love with his family and not really with me at all. He'd go home for the holidays without me, bearing gifts I'd help him shop for. And then he'd come back with old Shetland sweaters that reminded him of his childhood. But what I really wanted was for him to come back with the realization that he had missed me horribly. That he couldn't live without me. He wanted to marry me, that he loved me, or failing any of that he at least someday wanted me to meet his fucking parents. Which I finally told him in those very words.
and he said,
If you're gonna insult my family, I'm out of here.
and she said,
Fine.
Oh, good.
isn't that amazing?
Fine. Go. Split. Who cares? And take those fucking boots with you.
And he left.
Just like that. After 7 years. And 7 horrible Christmases. At which point he owned about 12 pairs of Tony Llamas. Most of them with holes. But I still had my own well-oiled, well-cared-for pair of Nakonas. He kept the Shetland sweaters and his childhood memories, and I left town and found a good shrink in Los Angeles.
Where we live.
I have nothing to wear.
Nothing.
Nothing fits.
Nothing fits me.
Why did I buy this piece of shit?
I hate my clothes.
Why can't I find anything in my closet? I hate my clothes. Why do I buy such terrible clothes?
I have to clean out my closet.
I absolutely have to.
I should really throw this away. After all, I haven't worn it in 2 years.
3 years.
5 years.
I can't do it. My mother gave me this. Who does she think I am?
Oh, I can't find my black turtleneck sweater.
Where is it?
I can't find it. Now I'm sweating.
Why didn't I hang this up? Now I have to iron it.
I have nothing to wear. Who bought this? Who did I think I was when I bought this?
I totally forgot I bought this.
Do men ever go through this? Choosing a sweater, unchoosing a sweater, choosing a sweater, unchoosing a sweater.
Of course they don't.
What is wrong with me? Where is it? I have nothing to wear.
I have nothing to wear.
I have nothing to wear.
Nothing.
After I got divorced, I moved back to New York and lived with Dora, who was studying to be an actress.
Gingy, you are the second youngest divorced person in America, and you must act as if you couldn't care less.
I had no idea what Dora meant.
What I mean is, don't marry the first person you go out with just so you can stop being divorced.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would I do that?
Are you listening to me, Gingy?
This is the yellow ochre sack dress Dora lent me when she fixed me up with Al Beckerman.
He's very sweet, but don't marry him, Gingy. Are you listening to me?
Floral print cotton piqué dress I purchased in a very snooty store in New Canaan, Connecticut for my marriage to Al Beckerman. My grandmother and Babby came to the wedding, but my grandfather wouldn't come because he was still mad at me for marrying Harry. Al was so sweet. He's very sweet, I said to Dora, and she said,
Yes, he is very sweet, but are you sure?
he'll take care of me.
I know, but are you sure?
We both want a big family.
How big, Gingy?
Black and red print taffeta maternity dress. First worn when I was pregnant with Isabel, and then when I was pregnant with Lily, Michael, Joe, Julie, and David. David died when he was 18 months old from a 48-hour intestinal virus. Your son is expired, they said when they called from the hospital. Your son has expired. After David died, everything changed. I ordered this wool beige pantsuit from the Spiegel catalog. It was my first mail order purchase. I thought it would be a good interview outfit because now that the children were all in school, I wanted to go to work. I got a job at an ad agency. One day, I was walking into my office, and a man was sitting at his desk, at my desk. He had a glue stick in his hand. He said, "Do you know how to open this fucking thing?" It was as if Cupid had shot an arrow right into my heart. "Fuck," he said, and left. Later that day, I found out his name was Stanley. So, there it was. First Walter, then Harry, and then Al, and then Stanley. Oh, I loved this Diane von Furstenberg print jersey wrap dress. It was easy to put on and very comfortable, and if you gained a few pounds, it still fit. I was wearing it the day I told Al I couldn't stay married to him anymore because I had fallen in love with Stanley. It wasn't really Al's fault. Al was so sweet.
There was, for a very brief moment in time, the paper dress. And I had one. I bought it at Paraphernalia, which was Betsy Johnson's first store on 67th and Madison. It was a sort of grayish plaid sheath. I wore it to brunch at my cousin Marty's. He was an advertising executive who just married Steffi, whom he put through medical school, and then she ran off with a doctor. They were very impressed with my dress and how au courant I was. I then wore it to Paula's sister Janet, who invited Paula and me to her newlywed apartment, contained her newly upholstered dining room chairs. In the middle of dinner, I got my period suddenly and violently. And when we all stood up, there was a blood stain on one of the seats of the prized new chairs. For history's sake, I should say that the dress was completely intact, just wet. Must have been the predecessor to Bounty paper towels. Anyways, when we stood up, Janet said something like, "What?" And then I said something like, "What?" As if nothing had happened at all. I then left the room for the bathroom. God knows what the three of them thought, because I I never acknowledged to anyone that anything out of the ordinary had happened. Although I will remember this on my deathbed.
I started gaining weight when I was 12.
I was always thin.
By the time I was 15, I was a size 20.
But not just thin, skinny. Which would not have mattered if I'd had breasts, but I didn't.
If I ate a carrot, I gained 3 pounds.
Mary, is that you in the refrigerator?
It was. My mother kept saying,
You have such a pretty face. You could be so attractive if you just lost your weight.
my mother was the most confident woman alive. But she couldn't deal with me when it came to clothes. She would be alone. And I would go to a store called Jane Engel, which was on the southeast corner of 79th Street and Madison Avenue, where they would bring me clothes and I would try them on. There was this dressing room with these 3 mirrors, and no matter which way I turned, I was big as a house. It's never a good time to be fat, but this was a particularly bad time on account of Audrey Hepburn.
My shrink said,
If you ever got happy, you would gain weight.
she also said,
This is all because of your mother.
my mother. I'm thin because of my mother.
Yes.
It couldn't be because of my metabolism.
No.
From my marriage to Kenny, I had dieted all the way down to 152 pounds, which was real thin for me. But Kenny wouldn't have cared because he was gay and he'd have married me if I had 2 heads.
I have this picture of my first husband and I on a bench in Washington Square Park. I was wearing my lime green winter coat. It was so short. And I looked really happy. But I was never happy married to David. Every time I see that picture, I just think about how many photos lie and how many marriages are just performances.
For my wedding to Kenny, I wore my mother's wedding dress with a few alterations. She got it at Bergdorf's. It was a gorgeous dress. Ivory satin, long sleeves with lace insets that came to a point, and a big long train. The morning of the wedding, I was putting the dress on, and the dressmaker pricked her finger and got a blood stain on the dress. My mother knew what to do.
I know how to fix that.
Of course she did. My mother was the most competent human being alive. She got an ice cube, and out came the blood stain. I wore that dress on my wedding day. My sister wore it on hers. My oldest daughter wore it on hers. And my youngest daughter, Jenny, she said, "Hell no, I am not wearing that unlucky dress." So we had a dress designed for her by Vera Wang. But Jenny got divorced too. We all did. The whole family, except for my mother, who stayed married to my father for a miserable 56 years.
After I was married to David for 3 years, I started to endlessly fantasize about tragically losing him. Every time he was 5 minutes late, car accident. Every time he coughed, TB. Every time we went to a party, I hoped he would go into the kitchen and start kissing one of my girlfriends and they would run off together. But none of them really liked him.
You are ambivalent.
Ambivalent? I was not remotely ambivalent.
You are ambivalent. You really love him. You're just too neurotic to realize it.
I was neurotic, but not because I didn't love my husband. It was because I was pretending to love my husband when I didn't. Well, after 6 years together, David and I split up, but not before talking for an entire week nonstop. We even tried talking naked, which you might imagine meant we finally spoke the truth, but we didn't.
And why were you naked?
Because we just had sex. We were lying there, and my husband was telling me he wanted me to stop writing. I mean, I had hardly written anything at that point. I wrote one book, The Adventurous Crocheter. And I remember while he was talking to me, I was reciting the beginning of it to myself so I couldn't hear what he was saying. There is no wrong way to crochet. There is an easy way and a hard way, but there is no wrong way to crochet. So David and I got divorced, and I left my shrink. I mean, fuck you.
For my wedding to Henry, I wore my mother's wool navy blue suit. I looked like a 110-year-old Italian war widow. But we lived happily ever after.
When I married Jerry, I wore a shocking pink Mexican skirt and a white Mexican top off the shoulder. Wasn't the sort of thing that would look good on a thin person, but I had gained 5 pounds. And we all know what a big deal 5 pounds is.
I look gorgeous in high heels. Everyone looks gorgeous in high heels. But my feet hurt. My little toe kept getting pinched. I had a bunion. Oh, the pain. I couldn't think. I had to choose between heels or think. So, I chose think. I went out and bought a pair of chic flat shoes. Now, I made a lot of mistakes. I bought this pair of turquoise blue Marc Jacob ballet flats because a salesman told me they gave me toe cleavage. Toe cleavage? I never even heard of toe cleavage. I realized that chic flat shoes hurt just as much as heels, and they didn't do that amazing thing for your legs. Fortunately, at the time, I met this unbelievably stylish woman who wore Birkenstocks. Now, when I was in high school, I was a Doc Martens kind of girl, and girls who wore Birkenstocks had big, dirty, hairy toes that stuck out at the ends. You could not be friends with someone who wore Birkenstocks. But this woman wore her Birks with baggy cord pants and a comme des garçons sleeveless shirt. It was a revelation. I realized that Birkenstocks were the coolest, punkest shoes a girl could wear. They were a statement. Look, these are my feet. Y'all have them, okay? My husband, on the other hand, had a slightly different opinion. He hated my Birkenstocks. He said they made me look like a troll from Middle Earth. One time, when the Yankees were in the playoffs, he made me take them off before entering the same room as the TV, so I wouldn't hex his TV. After we split up, you would have thought I got back to my Birks, but no. I went back to heels. But oh, the pain. I couldn't think. But you know, I look gorgeous. And so I had to choose between heels or think. I chose heels.
I just want to say, jumpsuits. Can we for like 1 second talk about what a nightmare it is to go to the bathroom in a jumpsuit?
I just want to say I have a personal rule against sleeveless turtleneck sweaters. I don't understand them. Are you hot or are you cold? Make up your mind.
I just want to say, when you start wearing Eileen Fisher, you may as well say, I give up.
I just want to say, I hate my purse. I absolutely hate it. If you are one of these women that think there's something great about purses,
Don't even bother listening because I have nothing to say to you. No, this is for women who hate their purses, who are bad at purses, who understand that their purses are a reflection of negligent housekeeping, hopeless disorganization, a chronic inability to throw anything away, and the ongoing failure of how to handle the obligations of a difficult and demanding accessory. An obligation, for example, that it should somehow match what you're wearing. No. This is for those of you who understand your purse is, in some horrible way, you. Now, I figured out many years ago that I was no good at purses, so for quite a while I managed without one. When I'd go out at night, I would manage with a credit card, a lipstick, and a $20 bill tucked in my bra. Now, unfortunately, there were days that I had to leave the house with more than just the basics, so I bought an overcoat with large pockets. This, I realized, turned my coat into a purse. But it was still better than carrying a purse. Anything is better than carrying a purse. Because here's what happens when you buy a purse. You pledge yourself to neatness. You start small. You vow that this time will be different. You start with a wallet and a few cosmetics. Seconds later, your purse has collected the debris of a lifetime. The cosmetics have fallen out of the shiny cosmetic bag. The coins are tumbling out of the wallet. The credit cards are... Where? Where are the credit cards? There's a half-drunk bottle of water and several snacks that you've saved from an airline trip in case you became unaccountably starving and craved a piece of cheese that tasted like plastic. Can I fit my sneakers in my purse? By God, I can. Before you know it, everything you own is in your purse. You could flee the Cossacks with your purse. But when you open it up, your purse has turned into a black hole filled with stuff that you spend hours looking for. What's the solution? I tried buying an expensive purse thinking this would somehow inspire me to be a different person. Well, that didn't work. Then I bought one of those Prada backpacks purses. I filled it with so much stuff I looked like a Sherpa. Then one day I found myself in Paris with a friend who announced her goal for the week was to buy a Kelly bag. I'd never heard of a Kelly bag. She looked at me like I had spent the last century asleep in a cave. She explained. A Kelly bag is a bag made by Irma in the 1950s, made famous by Grace Kelly. It's a classic. She had heard there was a dealer in the flea market that had several for sale. I asked her how much it would cost. I almost expired when she told me $6,000. So we go to the flea market, and there's the Kelly bag. I didn't know what to say. It looked like the kind of purse my mother would carry. It barely held anything and hung stiffly on my friend's arm. Now, I may not be good at purses, but I know anything that hangs on your arm rather than over your shoulder immobilizes half your body and adds 10 years. But my friend bought the purse. It was only $5,600. It wasn't even the color she wanted, but it was in wonderful shape. Of course, she'd have to have it waterproof because it would lose half its value if it got caught in the rain. Waterproof, caught in the rain. It never occurred to me to worry about a purse getting caught in the rain. Thank God it was time for lunch. We all went to a bistro where the Kelly bag was placed in the center of the table like a small shrine time to a shocking victory. Outside, it started to rain.
My friend's eyes welled with tears. She pressed her lips tightly together. In fact, her lips actually pursed. She hadn't had time to get the bag waterproof, and she had to stay there all day so that the bag did not get touched with a drop of moisture. It dawned on me that she and the Kelly bag may have to stay there forever. She would get old, the Kelly bag would not. Like some modern version of Lot's wife, they would metamorphose into a monument for people who care too much about purses. I gave up. I came back to New York, and I bought a purse. Well, it's not really a purse. It's more like a bag. It's definitely the best bag I have ever owned. It is yellow and blue and matches nothing. So therefore, on some deeper level, it matches everything. It's made of vinyl, so it will never have to be waterproof, and it's equally unfashionable in all seasons of the year. Didn't cost much, $26, and is totally indestructible, so it will never have to be replaced. It was never in style, so it'll never go out of style. Oh, I admit, there are some occasions that I have to go out with a purse, and I absolutely hate it. But I go almost everywhere with my bag. When people see it, they say, "Where did you get that bag?" I love that bag. What a great bag! The MetroCard bag. My one.
I never thought I'd get married.
I'm not someone who dreamed of my wedding from a young age. I did not have visions. I just wanted a dress that I could twirl around in.
But 2 months before my wedding, I saw a sign that said wedding dress sample sale. So on Saturday at 11 a.m., I am standing outside of a store with 40 other brides-to-be, in front of the store called Brides-to-Be. Now they opened the door and stampede. I mean, everyone was yelling, 8's over here, 12's over here. Mom, where are you? I mean, they were just grabbing. I mean, purses were swinging and elbows were jabbing. And then somehow I ended up in a dressing room with 15 other women with no curtain, stuck in a wedding dress. And when I finally got a look at myself, I thought, who is this person?
I went to all the San Francisco department stores and tried on bridal white dresses with satin tops and big fancy bottoms. Good and white, so no white.
So now I'm thinking pants, like wide flowing pants, perhaps in silk. Although I did see parachute material once that was really beautiful.
My mom was totally involved.
My mother and I were barely speaking.
We went to all these boutiques where the people were just fashion freaks. And they were so excited that I was getting married that we got carried away and we bought a dress. It was dark green. Right after, we went to see the rabbi to talk about the wedding, and my mother said, "Try it on for Rabbi Mendelssohn." So, I went into the ladies' room in the temple and I tried it on. And I looked at it in the mirror, but it was sort of difficult because it was above the sink. I had to jump up and down, and then it hit me. I looked like a pine tree. I took it off and I stuffed it back into the bag, and I realized that this is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard.
I have been dealing with my parents' homophobia since I was a young teenager. And I thought they were getting there, but when I told them I was getting married, I mean, they just hit the roof. My fiance's mother was great. As soon as we told her the news, she just ran over with this old sandwich plastic bag full of family rings. And she said to me, I want you to pick out the ring you want to get married in. Whatever one you want, I'd like to give it to you. So I picked out this gold band, rose gold. It was plain. It was my fiance's grandmother's. It was made back in the 1880s, and it was really, truly beautiful and magical.
About this time, my mom went on a Buddhist retreat in Napa.
So now I'm thinking tuxedo store. So a friend suggested we go over to one.
I get a call from a dress shop in Yountville. It's my mother, and she says, I have found your dress. I have found it. This is it. Now, I'm sort of laughing at my mother, and my hopes aren't even up. I'll be back Sunday, she says.
I tried on tuxedo pants, and they were kind of slinky and sort of great.
So 3 o'clock on Sunday, I get a call. It's my mother. I am 3 hours away.
And a white frilly shirt that fit perfectly.
It's me again. I am 2 hours away.
And the saleswoman found a vest with a daisy chain pattern.
Set your watch. I am 5 minutes from the exit.
Well, not daisies, just the chain part, interlocking circles.
My mom is just bubbling over with excitement. And she takes the dress out of the box, and it is the most beautiful color. Eggplanty maroon.
Okay, so I did not look like a bride, but I looked good.
So I put it on, and it was amazing. My mom literally starts screaming and running around in circles because she is so excited about the dress. She is so excited that she's the one who found it. Because I look so beautiful. I just felt completely at peace.
A few days later, my fiance's mom came over so we could try our outfits on, but she said we needed to match better and go together. So she bought these button covers for my vest, eggplanty maroon. I, Lisa, take you, Amanda, to be my partner in life, to love, honor, and be faithful to, for us both as we shall live.
I, Amanda, take thee, Lisa, to be my partner for life, to love, honor, to be faithful to through good times and bad, as long as we both shall live.
My mother kept saying, why'd they have to do this?
I could hear my mom sniffling right through the ceremony.
She even said it to Amanda's mom.
Why'd they have to do this? And my mom said, to honor their relationship.
Black.
Black. Black.
Black.
When did we start wearing black?
I can't remember.
I love black.
Do you have this in black?
I'll take 3 in black.
I'll take 5 in black.
Is this black?
You sure you don't have this in black?
Can you see if the other store has it in black?
What about the LA store? Do they have it in black?
Why do we only look good in black?
I went to the store the other day and the saleswoman brought me out a black sweater. And I said, I can't buy another black sweater.
You bought it, didn't you?
I bought it.
I feel sorry for people in places like Phoenix and Dallas, where they wear things like pink.
What about all those women senators in their red suits?
And the royal blue suits.
Turquoise.
Coral. Magenta.
What's wrong with them?
Don't they get it?
Can't they stop pretending that anything is ever going to be the new black?
Black.
Black.
Black. Black. Black.
I'm going to teach you to draw yourself. You start by making a triangle and a rectangle, one on top of the other. There's your dress. Add a collar, buttons, a belt, whatever. Add sleeves. If you can't draw hands, put them behind your back. Make an egg for the head. 2 lines, and you got a neck like a swan. Can't draw eyes? Close them. Make an L for the nose, a W for the mouth, curly or straight hair. 3 lines make legs, and whatever for shoes. And then you're going to want to ink it in. And there you are. I love this dress. It's from Eileen Fisher. So there. It's black, of course. These days I usually wear black. Black is always chic, and they say it makes fashion choices so much easier, but who are we kidding? There are no fashion choices when you get to a certain age. I have to wear long sleeves because my arms have gone to hell. My neck. Oh God, my neck. I wind scarves around it, and some days I look like Katharine Hepburn in On Golden Pond. I used to show a little cleavage as a fallback, but now my cleavage looks like a peach pit. Someone told me I could get Botox in my peach pit, but there's so many other parts of me that need Botox, my peach pit will just have to get in line. My waist is a faint, distant memory. If I find myself in a department store, it's like wandering through the desert. I feel like I'm forgotten. Actually, when I was young, there was a chain of stores called The Forgotten Woman. Now I am that forgotten woman, and the store isn't even in business anymore. How ironic is that? The clothes I used to wear are in boxes. My granddaughter Allie loves them. She's 4 years old, and when she comes over, I polish her fingernails and toenails bright red, and let her play in the drawer where I keep all the awful colors of lipstick and rouge and eyeshadow that aggressive sales ladies talked me into buying. Then Allie tries on my old clothes, high heels, and hats. I watch her face in the mirror as she looks at herself and sees how beautiful she looks. I wonder if she'll remember any of it when she's older. I wonder if she'll remember me. My grandmother, she'll say. My grandma was named Gingy, and she wore completely shapeless black things. Recently, Allie told me her favorite color is pink. So I thought maybe I would try a pink scarf.
I'd come to the doctor's office from work, so I was wearing a business suit and lipstick. I always wear lipstick, even for my surgery. After my surgery was over, my lipstick was still perfect. The nurses were amazed. "What kind of lipstick is this?" they said. "Deep Scarlet by Aveda," I told them. Anyway, when the doctors first told me the news,
You have late-stage invasive ductal cell carcinoma.
I looked over at my brother. He had come with me for emotional support, and he was wearing this gray pair of faded Levi jeans and a V-neck sweater. And I thought, I can't die. I can't leave my brother. He's only 22 and he still needs me.
The woman who had breast cancer told me,
Whenever you go to the hospital, always look fabulous. They can be mean to you. They can rob you of your identity. Always put on an expensive piece of jewelry and always look your best.
my mother gave me a white waffle cotton robe to wear over my surgical gown that was short and glamorous, and it was definitely more spa than surgical. On the day that my surgeon came in to undress my mastectomy wound and I was going to see it for the first time, I wore that robe and my Indian candelabra freshwater pearl earrings. Before my mastectomy, I had A- breasts. So I figured as long as I was having reconstruction, I might as well go for it. When the plastic surgeon asked me what size breast I wanted, I said, Baywatch. And then we got into this negotiation because she said, you're too small to have such big breasts. How about a B? No, I said, C. Okay, she said, B+. No, a C. But anyway, the night before my reconstruction, my friend Meredith sent me over this beautifully wrapped box, all pretty with ribbon and tissue. I opened it up, and there was this beautiful white lace bra with underwire. I never wore a bra with underwire before. And until that moment, I hadn't thought of my breast as anything but a reconstructed mound. But when I was given this bra, I realized that it was going to be a breast in a beautiful white lace demi-cup push-up bra. The next day, in the operating room, my surgeon came in and she said, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And she took off my top and started drawing on me with a Sharpie magic marker. I'm going to show you where I'm going to cut. Here and here and here. And it was making me nauseous. You know, lying on that metal table, the smell of the room, the surgeon drawing on my chest. So I just focused on that bra. I just focused on that beautiful white lace bra that was waiting for me when all this was over. I didn't want a nipple on my new breast. I mean, the nipples, they make them nice and they look completely natural. But I thought, if I have a nipple, every time people look at that breast, they're going to see this awful mastectomy scar. Whereas if I have a tattoo instead, they'll see the tattoo and laugh. I don't know what people I was referring to exactly, but nevertheless, that was my thinking. So I started calling all these tattoo ballers and telling them what I wanted. And I found this guy that was so excited. His grandmother had had breast cancer. And he said to me, I have to do this for you. I wanted my tattoo to be of a heart with wings. In Spanish, the word for heart is corazón, and in French, it's cœur. So a heart both symbolizes love and courage. And I wanted wings to represent all the friends who had looked after me like angels. After my chemo, these guys made me this beautiful wig, but I didn't want to wear it. I mean, everyone at work knew I lost my hair. They saw it falling out. So instead, I wore baseball caps backwards. I had a black suede one and a brown velour one. But my favorite was the crushed red velvet. My Aunt Honey gave it to me. I saved all my hats and I give them to other women to wear during their chemo. I always ask for them back so I can give them again. I think of them as magic hats, like a good luck thing. You know, when you're 27 and you get breast cancer, no one thinks you're going to live. But I did.
After I finished making all these drawings and writing all the bits and pieces that went with them, which took about a year, I made some copies and put them in big red binders and gave them to my children and to my two best friends. I was so happy, you have no idea. It was a story of my life. My mother was in it, and my grandmother, and Aunt Babby. It was as if they were still alive. They were acknowledged. Because when my sister dies, no one but me will know who they were. I was done. I managed to say all the things to my children you don't have time to say. I wanted them to know I wasn't always their mother. I was a girl. I had best friends. We did stupid things together. I rode on the bus with Dora once eating dog biscuits so people would look at us. I wanted them to know. Then, someone showed the book to a publisher. I thought, who would buy this? It's too personal. But they published it, and it turns out it was personal to other people too.
A green plaid coat I got caught on a piece of barbed wire. A pair of navy blue wool tights that kept falling down my legs and created a web between them.
Matching dresses with my sister for Easter Sunday. Bright blue dresses with smocking.
A gold lame mini dress I wore when I snuck into a Sting concert.
Blue jeans my best friend and I embroidered peace symbols on.
My first cheerleading outfit that said Colts right across the chest.
Black cigarette pants I wore one romantic evening in Paris.
Cotton candy pink silk shoes with bubblegum pink silk roses on the toes.